at Johns Hopkins for 11 years.
I'm Dr. Marc Allan Feldman, and I represent the Libertarian Party wing of the Libertarian Party. This is a big night for the Feldman family tonight, but not because of this. This weekend is the wedding shower, a bridal shower for my son and his beautiful bride. My wife, love you, Aaron and Robin. My wife scheduled it today because it's a woman-daughter thing, and she said, you're going out of town anyhow for something. But I appreciate you all here. My message, believe in yourself, trust in yourself, empower yourself, decide for yourself. Thank you.
For those who are listening to a libertarian debate for the very first time and don't know what a libertarian is, please explain what a libertarian is and what is the difference between a libertarian and a conservative.
A conservative will fight to live free. A libertarian fights for everybody to live free. If you want to be free to carry guns that you want, you also have to fight for the freedom of your neighbor to marry who he wants or she wants, to smoke what he or she wants, to do with their body what he or she wants. That's freedom for everybody.
Most libertarians think both major parties are bad, but that the Republican Party is, at least as to economic issues, the lesser of two evils. What do you say to people who believe that in the best case scenario, the Libertarian candidate this year might get 10%. In a close election, the Libertarian will likely take more votes from the Republican, making it more likely that Hillary will win the election. What is your response to that line of thinking?
Is it possible for me to win the nomination? Is it possible for the Libertarian to become the next President of the United States? Of course it is, because all it takes is a miracle. And miracles happen. Who makes miracles happen? I'm looking at them right now.
Donald Trump, when asked to name 3 functions of government, said national security, healthcare, and education. Where did he go wrong?
If Donald Trump thinks healthcare, the economy, and national security are important, I'm glad that asshole finally got something right. But it's not the government to do it. It's our job. It's our money, and it's our job. I don't want to tell our government, leave us alone. I want to tell our government, relax. We got this.
Should illegal immigration be stopped? Do you believe in open borders? If so, what does open borders mean?
Like all libertarians, I believe that every human being has human rights. And the rights you're born with don't matter which side of an imaginary line you were born on. We have illegal immigration because the multinational corporations and the wealthy corporate leaders like illegal immigration. They like having low-skilled, low-paid workers, and we need to empower them and open the borders. Thank you.
Should taxpayers pay for or subsidize education at any level, whether K through 12 or post-secondary education?
Yes, for their children. Not for other people's children. People should be empowered to educate themselves and their kids. We shouldn't take that responsibility away from people.
Even President Obama said the 3 biggest entitlements programs, Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, are, in his word, unsustainable. They comprise nearly 50% of the federal budget. What would you do about them?
Government programs are almost always bad deals. We need new ideas. I have the idea, let people on Social Security voluntarily invest in student debt. That decreases the student debt from 12% or 8% to 2%, and then it increases the return to our Social Securities up from 1% to 2%, doubling their benefits. Let people in mid-career take care of the educational opportunities for the kids, and then when the kids get jobs, they can support the retirements of their elders. Thank you.
If you don't believe government should force people into some sort of Social Security or forced savings system, what happens when someone has grown old but was too indifferent or irresponsible to have set aside savings? What should happen to that person?
The more somebody needs help, the easier it is for voluntary private organizations to give them help. They don't need help at the point of a government gun.
Does global warming or climate change pose a threat to the planet?
I'm a physician and a scientist, and I don't know, but I should know. We all should know. But even if there is a consensus on the problem of global climate change, there's no consensus on the solution. This isn't being used as an issue for furthering science and humanity. It's an issue that's used to take our resources and control our lives.
What taxes, if any, do you believe in? How should government fund its essential duties and obligations?
We have a responsibility to take care of each other, but we can do that without government stealing from us. Taxation is theft, and it's the worst kind of theft because our government convinces people that what belongs to them belongs to the government. It's a lie, it's our money, it's not their money.
Should there be a minimum wage? If not, how do you prevent employees from, as the left often says, exploiting workers?
The minimum wage is always zero. Ask anybody who doesn't have a job because the government is in control of the economy. We should raise wages for everybody by making more demand for working people to be productive. Thank you.
Should government, whether state or local, fund infrastructure, roads, bridges, sewers, electrical grids? And if government does not do it, who or what will?
The Constitution of the United States says all the government can do is what's necessary and proper. My balanced and credit plan, balance the budget and keep it balanced, change all charitable contributions to dollar for dollar tax credits, puts each American in control of every dollar. If they don't want to send money to the IRS, they can send it to private, voluntary, charitable organizations to take care of grandmas and build roads and bridges and take care of veterans and do all the things that would need to be done, and then there's nothing necessary or proper for the government to take care of.
Assume someone has a pre-existing medical condition and cannot get health insurance. What would you do about it?
I support universal health care. Everyone universally should care about their own health. With a balance and credit program, it provides billions of dollars for individuals to each decide how to spend their money to support their fellow man, women, children, and when they're donating money to do that, because the budget is balanced, the government will have to decide where to cut and cut and cut and cut, where the private sector is already doing things better.
On trade, would you continue trading with partners who impose tariffs on American goods and on those who engage in, as Donald Trump puts it, currency manipulation?
We can be fair, and if they won't be fair with us, we'll trade with somebody else. I have a big trade deficit with my barber. I give him money, he gives me haircuts. He never gives me money. We need free trade, and free trade doesn't need an agreement.
What should be done about the Federal Reserve? Is there a legitimate function for the Fed?
First, end the Fed, end the Fed, end the Fed. Then, end the Fed.
What government cabinet departments would you eliminate?
I wouldn't eliminate any one of them. I would let the American people eliminate all of them by replacing them with voluntary private sector programs that are more efficient, more productive, and better for America.
What do you think of the Iran deal? Does it pose a threat to Israel? And if so, is that a concern of America?
Behind the Iran deal are two groups of people whose crazy, irrational hatred of each other are putting the whole world at risk of war. I'm talking about Democrats and Republicans. We have plenty of issues here to deal with and plenty of people to trade and help around the world before dealing in the military adventures of other areas. Thank you.
President Obama has called the Hiroshima Bomb an act of evil. Do you agree?
Often who is evil and who is desperately trying to survive depends on which side of the gun you are on. Yeah. Unfortunately, you have to do what you have to do. Whether it's evil, I don't know, but there is suffering, tremendous suffering, and I wish that it was not necessary, as I'm sure everybody does. But the question is, what is the president going to do? And there are tough decisions to be made that have to be made. We have to make a safer and more peaceful world where we take care of each other instead of fighting with each other.
Do you believe radical Islam poses a threat to Europe, America, to Western civilization itself?
There is no Islamic terrorism. There are Muslim terrorists. We need the people to take the blame, not a religion. Terrorism is not a war, it's a crime. You know how to fight crime. You fight them as criminals.
Was it wrong for America to have intervened and fought in World War I? Was it wrong for America to have intervened and fought in World War II?
There were a lot of bright people, and I'm sure if they could find a way not to get into war, they would have done it. I don't have the egotism to try to say that I have a better idea to what have done at that time. It was a horrible situation, and I don't know whether anything could have been done differently.
We spend more on our military than the next 15 or so nations combined. How large shall our military be? Do we spend too much? Where would you cut?
I tell people I'm not an anarchist or a minarchist, I'm an agnarchist. I'm agnostic. I don't know how big our government should be. I want every
Our military.
And military is part of it. I want every American to decide how much of their taxes do they want to use to support their fellow man, and how much to send to our government for drones and surveillance and all the things that support our military industries. We used to manufacture weapons to support our war efforts. Now we manufacture war efforts to support our weapons industry.
Would you, as president, pull the United States out of NATO, the International Monetary Fund, and or the United Nations?
I kind of like the United Nations because it doesn't do much, and it's like our Facebook account. It keeps track of what other people are doing and tells us who our friends are. And it's often a big waste of time.
Are libertarians isolationists?
We're not isolationists. We just believe in intervening by dropping philanthropy, tourism, free speech, and free trade on other countries instead of bombs.
As between the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, which is the most anti-freedom, anti-libertarian? Or put another way, from a libertarian point of view, which is the lesser of two evils?
Hillary Clinton said that Donald Trump was not qualified to be president. Donald Trump said that Hillary Clinton is not qualified to be president. For the first time, I think they're both right.
When does life begin? At what point has a pregnancy gone so far that it should be a crime for a woman to have an abortion?
I have my own very firm religious convictions. I don't mix dairy products and meat products, but I don't think a cheeseburger should be illegal. We have a pro-life community, They should be able to enforce their rules on their community. We have a pro-choice community. They should be able to enforce their views on their community. And if they want to spread their message, they should invite other people by example to show what a wonderful community they have. It's not the job of government.
Do you believe in any form of gun control? Should a child be able to walk into a gun store and get a gun? What about ex-felons? What about automatic weapons like AK-47s or M16s?
I believe in gun control. I believe people should control their guns. I think criminals shouldn't be able to get guns. I don't know how to stop them because they don't seem to follow the law.
Should one have to get a government-issued license to marry? If same-sex marriage should be legal, what about multiple spouses? Where, if anywhere, would you draw the line?
I don't need a concealed carry certificate. I don't need any kind of marriage license. I don't need a marijuana grower's permit. I have a constitution. What I need is a government that honors it and doesn't ask for licenses and permits and certificates for things that are none of the government's business.
North Carolina passed a law that said, as to the public sector, one shall use the bathroom that corresponds with the gender on his or her birth certificate. How do you feel about that law?
As a physician, I think it's a very good idea to have two separate bathrooms. One for people who wash their hands and one for people who don't.
What kind of person would you put on the Supreme Court, and should Congress hold hearings on Obama's nominee?
I would appoint a justice with a keen mind, a big heart, a stiff spine, and a knowledge and respect for our Constitution. As far as Obama's nomination of a justice, I want to support the Congress's firm right to do nothing. It's the one thing they do well.
Reportedly, some 83% of law professors are Democrats. As a libertarian, you must think this has real-world consequences. What are they?
Well, the Democrats have tyrants, they have oppressors, they have demagogues. I assume they have some good people. I think that hopefully those professors have been appointed for a reason, and I'm sure that just like the Democrats and Republicans, once we have a libertarian president, I think we'll hear all across Congress and Senate, that's great, because I always was a libertarian.
If a parent chooses not to send his or her child to school, should the government intervene?
Yes, the government should send some people over there to see what a great job they're doing.
Should all drug use be made legal or decriminalized, whether marijuana or heroin? And what do you say about people who argue that if you do that, it would lead to more rampant drug abuse?
Marijuana should not be legalized like alcohol and tobacco. It should be normalized like caffeine and chocolate. Drug abuse is a medical problem. It shouldn't be a legal problem. If that worked, we should make cancer illegal, diabetes illegal, hypertension illegal, and we would have a much better, safer, healthier country.
If you believe in legalizing all drugs, would you at least make certain drugs illegal for children?
Before we can sell a drug, it has to be tested to make sure it's safe and effective. Congress has a similar mechanism for laws. Before they pass any law, they test it very carefully to see its effect on campaign contributions. If a parent would endanger their child, there's worse problems in that family than drugs.
Yes.
We need to go to the root of the problem, which generally is only made worse by government. There's a lot of problems and a lot of suffering in the world. Adding criminal punishment doesn't help.
The Civil Rights Act of 1964 ended discrimination in both the private sector and the public sector. Senator Barry Goldwater voted against it for libertarian reasons. He did not feel it was the government's job to tell a private business owner what to do. Senator Al Gore Sr. voted against it because he opposed integration. If you had been in the Senate, how would you have voted?
I would hope that I would look at it very, very carefully, end government discrimination, and when it came to private discrimination, we need to find what would cause more harm, what would cause less harm, and do what makes life better for people. And that's a very difficult decision.
Should someone have to have a government-issued license to drive a car?
A car is like a gun or anything else. As long as you're using it right and not using it to hurt other people, you should have a right to use it. A license and a permit is just another way to get some money and inconvenience to people.
You now have 60 seconds to make a closing argument.
Some may ask, Feldman, is he that libertarian? I am that libertarian. I'm that be what you want to be libertarian, that you look good on TV libertarian, that Muslim libertarian, that Jew libertarian, that Christian, atheist, Hindu libertarian, that Rothbard libertarian, that Jefferson libertarian, you know I'm not messing libertarian, that LGBTQ libertarian, no sex libertarian, that MLK Jr. Malcolm X libertarian, that revolutionary honor of all Ron Paul libertarian, that Richard Winger Bill Red Path ballot access libertarian, that Darrell W. Perry no apologies anarchist libertarian, that Gary Johnson New Mexico success libertarian, that Austin Peterson freedom and change libertarian, that right here, right now, no excuses libertarian.
Ask a Libertarian Facebook fan page is spreading awareness of libertarianism and informing non-libertarians while empowering those who support liberty on a daily basis. This is your opportunity to be empowered and let us advocate libertarianism for you at facebook.com/askalibertarian.